Charles and Lucille still definitely are at odds. Side note, I've been laughing all week at Lou Young's and the skit on Lou Young's YouTube page, and the woman who's equally as funny. Their portrayal of Lucille and Charles is just hilarious. I highly recommend anyone to check that out. Straight up hilarious. But anyway, they're still falling apart, unfortunately. And it's like I just always look at it like, yo, this could all be solved if Lucille just gave him some. Hey, what's going on, folks? Another episode of Ryan Reviews Everything, formerly known as Just My Opinion with Ryan. And here to talk about BMF Season 2, Episode 3. And just as a heads up, there's going to be some spoilers, obviously. And also, we are going to not talk in chronological order, but really just highlight some of the characters and their storylines and see what direction it's going in. I particularly want to start with T. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I like how this season, the beginning and throughout the episode, is narrated by T, as last year it was narrated by Meech. I wonder if there's going to be like on the future seasons, will they like have, I don't know, narration by the parents or something. But anyway, when it comes to T, we definitely see that there's actually some type of serious beef. There's actually car service beef, which sounds wild to me, because it's like, can you imagine if like there was like that level of beef with taxi cab drivers versus Ubers and Lyft drivers? Like, you know, taxis, you know, flatten, you know, regular everyday people's car who happen to be a, you know, Uber driver or something. But anyway, so that's what we have. We have a car service beef. It starts when we see T try to take his younger sister Nicole to school, and the tires go flat out of nowhere. After Charles, you know, looks at the car, apparently, you know, you got to do a lot to make these tires go flat. And then that's when he kind of looks at him sideways. And then, of course, T, throughout the episode, you know, quickly puts two and two together and realizes that it's the dude that he kind of beefed with at the airport. This guy by the name of Cleet. And I don't know about y'all, but you know, Cleet sounds like a name you shouldn't mess with, you know. But anyway, so he realizes that. He definitely comes to the shop and tries to check him. That doesn't go well. And Cleet, you know, has no shame about it. He was like, yeah, I'm glad you got the message. You damn right it was us. You know, I'm glad you got the message, you know. So it's on, you know. And then it gets even worse when, you know, Charles and the new employee, the new extra third driver they hired, they come to the shop and all of the cars are like down, you know, like just messed with. That's when, of course, Charles blames T for still trying to dabble in some gang life, which wasn't the case. It's literally just rival beef with another car service. And then that's when, I don't know where the third driver, her name escapes me at the moment. The third driver is actually on T's side, like, yo, we got to teach whoever's messing with us a lesson. Next thing you know, they sabotage some of their cars. The brake lights, you know, like the brakes go out on Cleet's car, and then next thing you know, Cleet is actually jumped by T, Meech, and somebody else out of Meech's crew. So it's really going down. I know this is supposed to be serious, but I just find the fact that car services beefing like this is kind of hilarious. You know, like, I don't know, my mind just runs away, and I'm like, what if there was like beef between like bakeries? Would they do something like crucial like that? Like, so it's just funny to me. And speaking of that, let's go to Charles. Charles and Lucille still definitely are at odds. Side note, I've been laughing all week at Lou Young's and the skit on Lou Young's YouTube page, and the woman who's equally as funny. Their portrayal of Lucille and Charles is just hilarious. I highly recommend anyone to check that out. Straight up hilarious. But Anyway, they're still falling apart, unfortunately. And it's like I just always look at it like, this could all be solved if Lucille just gave him some. Granted, I know she tried to give him some when she bought the credit card, bought the lingerie with the credit card. But outside of that, it just seems like it would just be solved with just laying down together. But that's just me. We definitely see things that kind of get a little more risky in the marriage in a negative way. It's to the point to where Lucille is actually talking to the pastor, which is played by Snoop Dogg, of course. Pastor gives his marriage advice or whatnot, talking about submit, this and the third. Sometimes you just gotta, pray to God that he gives you the power to learn how to submit, whatever the case. And Charles takes offense that Lucille is talking about their marriage, because Snoop definitely tried to give advice to Charles. Charles wasn't the most receptive to it, clearly. And that's where we at with that. And it's kind of getting that dangerous territory. He's looking at the woman that he's playing, in the choir with a little too long. And they're having like this music chemistry. And Lucille is seeing this with her own two eyes. Charles goes over to this woman's house by the name of Mabel, another woman. He's innocently trying to fix the fan. Mabel wants Charles to dance with him. And even though he didn't like sleep with her, they're flirting with this idea of Charles having more than a wandering eye. Like it's going to get deeper. Unfortunately, it may get deeper than just him looking at dirty magazines, clearly. So, we'll see where that goes. Hopefully things turn for the better. Hopefully, we'll just see how that goes. That's the best I can say. And then, of course, we got Meech. Meech throughout this episode, I really felt like was, it just really shows you how brothers can beef one minute and then be cool the next. Meech, as I mentioned already, was down to, pardon me, down to help his brother T when he's beefing with the car service and so forth. But in other news, he's getting word that, something shady is going on with his cousin out in Cleveland. The cousin acting like work is gone. He sent, Meech sent somebody to go check on him, and it seems to be the complete opposite. The cousin is out here living large all of a sudden, but yet he got robbed. So things just ain't adding up, Still trying to do business with K9. K9 sends him on a mission to find this guy, the loudmouth from last week who was talking all that noise at K9's gambling spot. Wants to find him and just bring him to him, I guess because he's been doing some shady business. And we see how that goes down. They run up on a dude with a tattoo. His name escapes me. But I was just wild. Dude is actually sleeping with K9's wife. And on top of that, B-Mick and Meech, when they go try to get homeboy, B-Mick accidentally shoots him in the head. They bring the dead body to K9. K9 is like, this ain't gonna work. Y'all definitely ain't getting any of my work. I can't give you anything. The whole purpose of this assignment was to bring back the dude alive, not dead. So, and then the wife is just still has no shame. Well, it's like, hey, I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna still cheat. This ain't gonna stop nothing. Which I don't know where that came from. So we'll see how that goes as well. And of course, unfortunately, the episode ends with Meech getting shot. And that's the hard reality of how he finds out that Lamar is in fact not dead. Matter of fact, he was. I thought it was real dope how like they was playing on the Lamar thing. Like the daughter swore she saw him, tells her mom about it. The mom was like, I don't know. It really was like this whole thing about flirting with, like just raising doubts in some of these characters, like if Lamar is really alive. And then, of course, as I said earlier, Meech finds out the hard way that yes, homeboy is indeed alive and well. And that was the last thing Meech saw before he was shot. So I thought it was an interesting way to end the episode. And a side note I forgot to mention earlier when it goes back to T's story. some shows can just be predictable. I mean, we all saw that he was still trying to flirt around with Markeisha, played by Lala Anthony. And we definitely see that towards the end. Lala Anthony is kind of distraught, and come to find out her husband was beating on her. T, of course, doesn't like that. And they end up sharing an intimate moment, end up kissing. And so we definitely see that there's definitely some mutual interest, between T and Markeisha. And of course, going to see how that goes. I'm sure T is going to try to possibly, fight for Markeisha's safety, against her abusive husband. So, and before and my final point I'm gonna bring up real quickly, Detective Bryant's partner. I'll put the name in the edits. Her name escapes me at the moment, but I really enjoyed how they actually showing some more development in this character. We definitely see that there's a burning building. She notices that someone says that there's a person inside. She runs in, saves this person, and come to find out he's like a veteran, military veteran. She's of course emotional and is thanking him for his service, this and the third. After the person is hauled off to the hospital, she has that moment in the car by herself where she's crying and so forth. And it's to the point to where she actually, has this issue of, self-mutilation. She actually burns cigarette burners in her arm. So, that's a shocker. I know that's a real thing to some people, self-mutilating. So I'm just interested to see what else this character has going on. Cause that was actually quite an emotional scene. I thought that actress did extremely well with that. And I was just like, wow, I'm curious to find out more about this dynamic between Detective Bryant and her partner. More so her partner, now that we found out, a little bit more layer to this character. So that's the last thing I want to end on. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you stayed around this long, please hit that like and subscribe button. Or if you stumbled upon the channel, it will be do me a huge favor if you like and subscribe to the channel. Try to drop at least 3 videos a week. And I appreciate anyone who took the time to watch this. And love it or hate it, that's just my review. Peace.